Hi there, this is Dr. Heather with Feather Communications, just coming to you today with another resume tip, especially since it's Monday to start off the week, just kind of thinking about new job opportunities and if you are ready to do a new resume, where to kind of draw the line in the sand regarding dates on your resume. So one of the things that typically happens is when somebody's ready to do their new resume, one of the first questions I usually receive is, how far back do I need to go? How many jobs should I include on my resume? And do I need to include all of the jobs? So the answer is, number one, no, you do not have to include all of your jobs. Number two, how far back should you go? Is anywhere between 10 to 15 years, depending upon where your jobs kind of break within that timeline. So most of my clients tend to be my age or older, so 40 and up, 35 or 40 and up, and so they haven't needed a resume for 10, 15 plus years, and they have no idea where to start. So one of the things that most of us like to do is to include way too much information. So think about relevance rather than how far back you're going on the document. So the more recent jobs are going to be the ones that are more relevant, most likely, to the jobs that you're applying to in the future. So only include about the last 10 to 15 years. It's perfectly acceptable to do that. Now, hypothetically, let's say that you've had a job that was 20 plus years ago and you think it's really, really relevant to the job that you're going to be seeking in the future. For example, I was a bank teller when I was in high school, which was a while ago. But if I was applying to a job in a bank as like a CSR, a loan officer, or something like that, I would still include that on there even though it is outside of that 10 to 15 years. But I would include it in a separate section and I would have it say something like earlier career history or earlier professional experience. Something where I could include it, but I wouldn't necessarily be putting the dates associated with it. Who's to say when that is as far as when you start to date yourself and when it can potentially hurt you? And obviously there's lots of rules and laws against age discrimination, but it absolutely still happens. So just be really cognizant of the dates that you're putting on the document. The other tip I want to give you about dates is with your education. If you graduated from college 15 plus 20 years ago, there's no reason to include the date on there. And honestly, I never include the date on education unless my client graduated like 2 weeks ago and has no professional experience. Otherwise, the date that you graduated really isn't relevant and there's no reason to put it on there. And again, it's just another opportunity to date yourself and you really don't want to do that, okay? So if you have any questions regarding dates on your resume, I would be happy to help you with that. It's kind of one of those things where you don't necessarily think about it until it's time to put everything together. And then you really start to think, how far back should I go? So 10 to 15 years, depending upon your career history. Don't put dates on your education. And actually the last tip I would give you today is if you include volunteerism, community engagement, any sort of dates or any sort of things that regarding volunteerism, think about the dates. If it's past, if you haven't done that particular thing in 5 to 10 years, don't bother putting the date on there at all. And I would even question whether or not you should be putting it on there in the first place. But make sure that you're not giving people an opportunity to discriminate against you based upon the dates that you're putting on your document, okay? So if you have any other questions regarding dates on your resume, how far back to go with your jobs, dates with your education, should you put them on there, should you not? I'm here to tell you, be really, really careful about the dates that you put on there. Think about if you need them at all, are they even relevant, and then go forward from there. As always, if you want a free resume review,